Wife left me and our daughter 2 years ago. Now she's back and wants to reunite as a family. The author of the post is listed in the description. 2 years ago, my wife pulled the classic, "I'm going to buy some smokes," and just disappeared. She suffered from depression, and I did my best to take the load off her and help her get the help she needed. She would keep saying how she was sick of everything, even our daughter, and again I would give her space and try to accommodate every request. Then she just disappeared, took some of her stuff, and she was just gone. I had gone picking up our daughter at school after work, and after we came home, she was gone. Police was involved, but after 3 days, she called her mother saying she was fine, but wished for us to not look for her or contact her. It was hard. Working, raising our daughter as a single father, trying to explain her why mom was gone and not knowing what to say when she asked if mommy would ever be back. At the same time, I appreciated the strong bond I built with my daughter, and that helped a lot. I never looked into or filed for divorce, but around last year's summer, I met a woman, Jill, and we started an on and off relationship. She knows all about my situation, and although we are currently on break, she is still a big help and established a rapport with my daughter as an aunt figure. I was thinking of getting the ball rolling for divorce when 2 weeks ago my wife returned. Completely apologetic, but she also seemed to have become a new person entirely. Upbeat, propositive, almost with a glow to herself. She popped back in with a, "Hey guys, what did I miss?" While after our initial shock, my daughter and I became diffident. In the last days, my daughter has warmed up to her, but I didn't. She tried to initiate intimacy after 2 nights, but I told her I was not comfortable about it and asked her to move to the guest room, which she did, saying she completely understands. I asked her where she's been the last years, and she pretty much toured around the world, I don't even know with what money, and found herself. I told her pretty bluntly that I was looking for divorce and that there's already someone else. She said she completely understands if I hate her now, which I don't, but maybe I can give her a chance to make it up to us. I am torn. I still have feelings for her, and I'm glad my daughter got her mother back, but how can I trust her to not just walk out on us? What I am supposed to do with Jill? Thanks for everything, but my wife is back. So long, and thanks for the fish. I don't know where to put my head anymore. Comments. Commenter. This is above Reddit's pay grade. If you want to pursue being with her, you absolutely need a couples therapist. All Reddit can do is tell you that you're absolutely right for wanting a divorce. Commenter. She's a flight risk. You and your daughter deserve stability, even if you're a family of 2. File for divorce. File for full custody. If she wants to be a part of your daughter's life and prove to your daughter she's not going to abandon her again, fine. But it's not just a let mommy come back situation. She will eventually bolt again. Your daughter deserves better than that. Update. 12 days later. Hello, people. I have read your comments, even though I replied very little, but I appreciate your advice and insight. I have an update, but I'm afraid it will be a bit disappointing. My MIL has agreed to take my soon-to-be ex-wife in, and she moved out without making a fuss. She says she understands, but would like to keep a relationship with our daughter. I let her know I am pursuing a divorce, and she took it seemingly well. Her only request is that I don't bar her from our daughter. She gave me an account of what she's been up to the last couple of years. I am not sure whenever to believe her or not, and at this point, I don't care. I have contacted a lawyer, and we are looking into a smooth and quick divorce. If my ex-wife keeps being so cooperative, I think she could have visitation rights, but I am not sure about custody. Perhaps if she demonstrates she can be a safe parent in the future. Jill and I are not back together. She proposed rekindling our relationship, but right now my priority is my daughter and sorting out my affairs and the divorce. Jill has agreed to give me time, but also asked me to let her know my choice in a reasonable amount of time because she really wants to be with me and my daughter, but neither she can wait forever. I agreed with her. Now we get by day. Edit. Jill is not my soon-to-be ex-wife. She's the woman I had a relationship with after my wife abandoned us and helped me with my daughter. Comments. Commenter. Happy to hear you're doing well. Take your time, but in my opinion, losing Jill would be a mistake you will end up regretting. She seems very understanding of your situation and willing to support you in this trying time. Oopa, I don't know. Right now the priority is my daughter. Of course, Jill can keep her rapport with her, but I don't think this is the moment for a relationship. Commenter. Why are you on and off with Jill? If you like being with her, then be with her. Your ex should not be part of that equation. Oop. It's not about my ex, it's that my daughter is the priority and I feel I can't give 100% to a romantic partner. Jill understands this, but right now I can't focus on a relationship. Commenter. Your daughter likes Jill, right? You are sort of keeping her from a positive female influence right now when she probably needs it most. I think the thing is that you are conflicted with your wife coming back into the picture. If you show your day what a healthy relationship is like, then you are really helping her in this process. What I'd be worried about is that she's going to learn that when things get tough, her female role models leave. Maybe if you keep things normal and only make one change to her world, the addition of her mother, it will be less traumatic. Oh, OP, I didn't think about it in those terms. I do want Jill and I don't want for us to lose her. Commenter. Plan an evening with Jill. Apologize if you hurt her feelings. Tell her you want her in your life and that she's been a great mother to your daughter. Tell her you'd like to have her with you through this and beyond. Super simple, my dude. Go forth and do great things. Okay, next story. My wife is upset by my finally flourishing. Envy. My 28M wife, Ashley, 30F, have been together for 4 years, married 3, and open for 2. We both found someone very early. Ashley was dating a married man in a stable poly relationship, and I got quite close to a grad student at a nearby college. Ashley and I were both high on NRE, but managed to share that with each other, and it was so intense and special. After 9 great months, my grad student got a job offer several hours away. Being slightly introverted, I kind of withdrew into my shell and threw myself into the gym to take my mind off things. Less than 2 months after that, Ashley's Meta got pregnant and her relationship started to wind down. I had hoped we could take some time and maybe travel or just spend some romantic time together after both of our breakups, but Ashley's plan was to chase that next NRE rush with someone new. But she wasn't matching with anyone that she could really connect with. She started seeing more people more often. Then she scheduled a date with a new guy on Saturday night, which had always been our date night. We argued, and she ended up not going out with either of us that night. She insisted we change our date night to Thursday because Friday and Saturday were better for her other partners, especially if they wanted to do an overnight. All this caused me to spiral a bit, and I was practically living at the gym, with no real enthusiasm for dating for a few months. The upside was I lost 35 pounds and really pumped my arms and upper body up. One of my friends, Keith, from the gym, talked me into working at one of his clubs on Friday and Saturday as a barback since they were crazy busy. It's a mixed crowd LGBTQ+ with a big dance floor and a drag show. By the 3rd week, I was bartending, and the MC had made teasing me and grabbing my ass part of her act. I started getting hit on, which boosted my confidence and went from introverted to the other end of the scale. After about 3 months, I noticed Ashley making snide remarks about my working and staying out all night, as I think she was a bit annoyed or jealous I was having such a good time. She was still getting dealt shitty cards from a stacked deck, as she put it. Rarely getting more than 3. 4 dates from any one guy before ending it or getting ghosted. Meanwhile, I'm going to after parties or hooking up and not getting home much before the sun comes up. Then came the big storm, 1. I knew I was going to hook up with a regular at the bar and not be home, so I texted Ashley that I was having an overnight and would be home till the next morning. I get a lengthy text about how I ruined the mood on her date and ruined things, and the next day had a big argument. 2. Ashley had told me she was doing an overnight on Friday, so after work, I invited a few people to the house. Ashley had a fight with her BF and came home early to find me in the hot tub with 3 naked women. 2 were lesbians, but the picture didn't reflect that. 3. Ashley and her date decided they wanted to see the drag show on Saturday. It was a packed house. We had 3 bachelorette parties in the house that were in rare form. I was helping the barback clear empties from the tables, and the MC and one of the other divas were giving me the business, which only egged the bachelorette groups to get handsy as well. As busy as it was, I never saw Ashley, but Kevin did, and saw her leave in a huff with a bewildered date in tow. The day after she came to the club, Ashley said we needed to close the relationship and work through some issues. We talked about a few of them, mostly me not being available on the weekends and not prioritizing our relationship. I had to remind her that she was the one who prompted us to move our date night from Saturday to Thursday to accommodate her boyfriend's schedules. She brought up how hurt she was when she had a fight with one of her dates and came home early to find me in a hot tub full of women when she needed me to be there for her. I told her for once I was getting to enjoy the same freedom she had, and if she was having issues, then maybe she should take a step back and close her side while she got some individual counseling to learn how to deal with her issues. I haven't missed a Thursday date night with her, although she can spend a third of it on her phone with other guys, and that's supposed to be okay. And I brought up how she literally sends 30 texts to my one. Last night she brought it up again, and I said if she wanted to close, we could close, but it would be permanent. No dating or online flirting. She would have to delete all her dating apps and Snapchat, all her phone numbers of past hookups, everything. I made it clear if we went down this path, the next time she wanted to so much as have dinner with another man alone, it would be as a single poly woman. Obviously, she didn't like my idea and said it was unfair. And personally, right now, that isn't something I want either. But I'm not going to just let her pour cold water over my side to appease whatever is going through her head right now. Relevant comments. Commenter. Yikes. It sounds like neither of you has tended to your relationship with each other in quite some time. Initially her, and now both of you. You both seem to be prioritizing random hookups before each other when your priorities should be the other way around. Each other first, your dates second. Oop. Respectfully, she was the one to move out date night to a weeknight and then spend Friday and Saturday chasing new partners, often spending overnights leaving me home most of the weekend. I still made an effort to plan date nights as best I could, which was hard considering we both have to get up early Friday to go to work. We were still intimate a couple of times a week. But I took the club job partially to fill the time I was left at home alone, and when I started having fun doing it, she wanted to shut it down. Commenter. She started it. Isn't the justification you think it is. Oop. So are you saying I should have just sucked it up and wallowed at home alone while she dated all weekend? We had a pretty balanced routine that was fulfilling before she started her speed dating antics. Or was that somehow my fault too? And I was pretty vocal at the time I was unhappy with things, but that all got pushed aside. Update. So, a couple of weeks ago, my wife Ashley asked to close our relationship and work on some issues, which I refused since I was just starting to really enjoy it after being left behind, as it were. You can read my previous post for context if needed. Another thing she wanted was for me to stop working part-time tending bar at an LGBTQ plus club after she and a date of hers came in, and she saw the attention I was getting there. Last Thursday was our scheduled date night, where she again asked me to pause, reconnect, and work through some issues. Friday and Saturday nights had lately been the nights I worked at the club while she went out with her other partners and was often gone overnight, leaving me alone for most of the weekend. This last weekend, she spent both Friday and Saturday nights sitting alone at the end of the bar where I worked. I had a date already planned for Friday after work, but on Saturday we left together and had breakfast before going home. All this week her phone has been silent, and I have only seen her texting a couple of times. All 3 times we have been intimate this week, she has been the one to initiate it, which is the total opposite of the last 9 months. MWE had a long talk, and she wants to make Saturday our official date night again, in addition to keeping Thursday night as well. She said she had pulled all her dating profiles down and deleted Snapchat, basically closing her side of the relationship down. Her only ask has been for me to not work Saturday so we could spend the entire day together. I told her I could do that, but I needed to give Kevin time to find a replacement for me at the club. We are spending this afternoon with her family and lunch tomorrow with mine for Thanksgiving. Ashley has a new individual therapist she will start seeing next week and wants an extra session with our couple's counselor for the next couple of months. She hopes, but hasn't pressed, that I will close my side as well, but I haven't made up my mind yet. I guess I will wait and see for now. Commenter. Ashley is simply used to getting what she wants, when she wants, even if it takes pressing OP by showing up to his part-time job. Strategic, since this job is what got him back in the game and having fun. When she sufficiently blocks OP from what's working for him, the game will change again. Clear manipulation tactics, OP? Won't be long before she wants you to quit that job outright. That will mark the completion of her plan. She will wait a bit and magically be ready to get back out there. From reading OP's well-thought-out posts, it's pretty clear he understands what I laid out above. While E&M isn't easy, and certainly is a give and take by all parties involved, once certain patterns become apparent, The side constantly laying down needs to stand back up. Can't imagine how he felt those 9 months, let alone how little she cared. OOP. Even if it takes pressing OP by showing up to his part-time job. Ashley's reasoning for spending time at the club was to 1. Spend more time with me. And 2. Shows she wasn't spending time out with her other partners. And 3. And be there when I get off work. Won't be long before she wants you to quit that job outright. That will mark the completion of her plan. She will wait a bit and magically be ready to get back out there. Originally, she did want me to quit, but has backed off a bit for now. Part of the reason I resisted closing revolved around the fact when my resources dried up, she could flip and want to be open again, and I would have a harder time reopening than she would. Update 2. My wife, Ashley, frustrated with her dating pool and envious of my overdue success, wanted to temporarily close to work on our relationship, which had suffered, largely due to her neglect. I refused to close unless it was permanent, but said I would meet her halfway. I agreed to quit working Saturday nights at a bar and make Saturday night our date night once again. She was the one who moved our date night to Thursday because Friday and Saturday worked best when she was dating. She did shut her side down and deleted all her apps and profiles. So we started going to couples therapy every other week, and in the weeks in between, she was seeing her personal therapist. I was able to get her to understand and take the blame for how I suffered, and we worked through a lot of our issues. Our therapist had us work on what we each wanted going forward and devise a plan to manage our expectations. Some of the rules were made to manage NRE and respect each other. These were not boundaries that could be pushed, but rules that had serious consequences, either close permanently or separate pending divorce proceedings. Thursday and Saturday were our date nights. No phone calls or texts with other partners. On nights we were home together, there would be no texts after 7 p.m. Each of us was allowed 2 dates per week with other partners. No phones are allowed in the bedroom. No hosting partners at our house. All partners will be informed of these rules and be expected to honor them. We spent about 6 weeks rebuilding our relationship and trust. I had one person I was seeing, but she was still closed for the most part. A month ago, in one of our sessions, she asked if I was comfortable with her seeing people again, and I said I was okay, as long as she followed what we had talked about. She started talking to Fred, and they went out a couple of times and had sex on the second date. No overnights yet, and they have both been good about texting per our agreements. Last week, Ashley said a friend of hers was going to be in town on Saturday, and she wanted to have dinner with him. I asked if that was how she wanted to spend date night, and she said just this once. She said he was just a friend and was only in town for the day, so I said sure, why not? Fast forward to Saturday, she is getting ready. Getting dressed up really nice for just a friend. She came out of the bedroom and I got up and grabbed my jacket and keys and asked if she was ready to go. She asked what I was doing and I said, "We're going to have dinner with your friend tonight, right?" She said that wasn't exactly the plan. I apologized and said that's what I thought she meant about having dinner with him on our date night and suggested she text him and tell him it would be 3 for dinner. After more discussion, she did send him a text that she would be unable to make it for dinner. We ended up getting a pizza delivered and talking most of the night. Sunday morning, we slept in and she woke up like nothing had happened and rolled over on top of me. This week, the subject hasn't come up and she has been pretty loving. Monday, we have couples therapy where I'm sure one of us is going to bring it up. Hopefully, it's just a small bump in the road as we have been better together than we have been in a long time. This Saturday, we are celebrating my promotion and I am surprising her with a trip overseas. Relevant comments. Commenter: I find it odd that you would try to join a dinner that you were not invited to. Reading that felt like you were intentionally looking to provoke her or ruin her evening. I can appreciate being upset if you two had plans she was breaking to be with the friend. As written, it didn't look like you two had plans that night other than it was a date night. In my household, there is a standing date night, but one of us still has to ask the other out, make plans, etc. This didn't read that way to me, like you two didn't have a specific date already happening. I could be wrong. Maybe you left that part out about actually having plans with her that evening. Ooh, oop. I asked if that was how she wanted to spend date night, and she said just this once. She said he was just a friend and was only in town for the day, so I said sure, why not? We have gone on double dates on date night before, and I asked it this way on purpose. If he was just a friend, why wouldn't I want to meet him? And why would she be upset? Either way, I'm not going to let her slip into old habits of breaking our agreements again. I gave her the option to go if she really wanted to, but she knew that would mean breaking our agreement, and she called it off. Commenter. Ha! Seems to me, based on her canceling the day after finding out you were going to, that she obviously intended this date night with a friend to be way more than that. I suspect you think that too. Otherwise, why cancel it? If my hunch is right, then that brings up trust issues, doesn't it? I think you definitely need to explore this friendly date night further at your next counseling session together. Good luck. Commenter. The only thing I would suggest here is more direct communication. I don't think you're wrong, and I don't think you're 100% in the clear. You're doing a great job being firm in your rules. I'm just suggesting you say it up front, and she's far from off the hook because she should have directly told you she intended to meet him solo. She tried to skirt around agreements, and you put your foot down. Oop, I didn't come straight out and tell her no, not on our date night, because I knew she would sulk and try to wear me down like she used to do. And as she got closer to leaving, it was clear my hunch about what she had planned was correct. If I had let her go, she would know that I would cave whenever she wanted to bend a rule. The last few months we have had 0 issues, and it has been nice. I have been thinking about quitting the bar gig altogether. It was never about the money, and more of a social outlet. So when I saw her old pattern starting to re-emerge, I wanted to slam the door on it, once and for all. Was it a blindside? Yes, but it gave her 0 time to manipulate me. We had all week to talk about it, and she finally came clean. He was not an old friend, just someone she had been talking to online for a couple of weeks. Commenter. We had all week to talk about it, and she finally came clean. He was not an old friend, just someone she had been talking to online for a couple of weeks. So what are you going to do? She's obviously not only trying to bend your agreements in her favor, but she has no qualms about blatantly lying to you. Do you still think this is going to work? Oop. It's frustrating for sure, and we will address it in therapy next week. Things have been so much better lately, and were looking so promising before this episode. I feel like she is trying to change, but it's not like a light switch she can use to change all her behavior all at once. I would like to get past this, but I admit my patience has been stretched to the breaking point. She is also aware that I talked with an attorney last November when things got really bad, and that she was weeks, if not days, from being served. She found out when my check for his retainer cleared the bank, and she Googled him and found out his specialty. Update. I had high hopes, but I have to admit most of you were right. Things were looking up, and we, at least I, were happy, and things looked like we had moved past all the drama. But her lies kept piling up, even telling little lies that didn't mean anything. Last Sunday, Ashley said she was going shopping with her mom and would be home around 5 p.m. About 30 minutes after she left, I heard her watch dinging away in the bedroom. She had left it on the charger by the bed. I called her to tell her she had left her watch and to pick up bread for dinner on our way home, but she didn't pick up, which isn't unusual when she is driving. So I called her mom, and when I told her to tell my wife when she got there, she seemed surprised. I chatted with her for a while and discovered they had no shopping plans. Now I checked the text messages that had been coming in on her watch. The one that stood out was from a guy named Alan, whom I didn't know, saying he was running an errand and was going to be a little late. I was composing a lengthy text message when Ashley called me back. She said her mom had forgotten about the shopping trip. I stopped her and said since Alan was running late, she should come back home so we could talk. There were a few seconds of silence before she said she would be right there. When she got home, I told her I had had it with all the lies and gaslighting. I told her to pack an overnight bag and to just spend the night with Alan, as I needed some space to process what I needed to do next. She apologized for lying and said we needed to talk this out now and not let it fester and get any worse. I told her I was going for a ride to clear my head, but it would be better if she wasn't here when I got back. I was gone for a couple of hours, during which she sent several texts. When I got home, she was still there, so I packed a bag and left again without saying much. I got a hotel room and muted my phone. Monday morning, I got to work early and made some calls. I was able to see an attorney that afternoon to discuss options for a divorce. I gave him the go-ahead to get started on the paperwork and have her served. I sent Ashley a text asking her to come home straight after work because we needed to have a serious conversation. I was direct and told her I had seen an attorney and started divorce proceedings, that I was done with the lies and felt this was my only option. She didn't take it well, and all week has been hot and cold, playing every card she has, trying to get me to change my mind. I canceled our couple's therapy session Wednesday night. Useless at this point. Thursday morning, she was served and the reality set in and she cried all night. I called Keith and asked him if he had an open spot on Saturday night at the bar and told him what had happened. He was sorry to hear about my marriage, but excited to have me working on Saturday nights again. They made a big deal Friday night at the club about it, and I was touched by all the support and love from my bar family. I told Ashley I would help her find an apartment and get her moved ASAP. I talked to my landlord, and he is willing to let me make an offer on the house we have been renting. I want the divorce to be as amicable as possible, but I don't want her in my life anymore. There will be times when our friends bring us into contact and I don't want it to be weird, but I want to keep her at arm's length. Relevant comments. Commenter. Definitely gaslighting there, reading through the history. You know you made the right choice and you clearly tried everything to avoid that outcome. She clearly did not. Oop. Should have thrown in the towel months ago. Just glad to finally be out from underneath this smothering relationship. So many friends tonight have congratulated me for moving on and have opened their hearts to me. It's like 100 doors have been opened up before me for the first time. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.